Earth in the year 2045. It is June 2045, approximately 10 years after the Invid first invaded the planet. Only a few well-hidden resistance movements remain in operation, scattered across the Western Hemisphere. Some are well organized, consisting of old bases and older Robotech soldiers to lead them. Unfortunately, most are not. Instead, they are composed of well-meaning civilian men and women who must teach themselves how to fight a mechanized enemy. Of all the freedom fighter forces, perhaps the most powerful are the Detroit Rockers, but even they are not as spirited or powerful as the new generation team that was formed after the Battle of Reflex Point. This new team, led by the famous Rook Bartley and Lancer, was called Rook's Knights. But the Knights vanished 4 years ago, after an ambush at an Invid hive on the plains of South Dakota. Without heroes to lead and inspire them, and with the sheer enormity of a seemingly never-ending war, the morale of the freedom fighters has fallen to near extinction. You are among the few remaining veterans who struggle to free humankind. Most of the other freedom-fighting forces have disbanded, or have become disorganized through the continuing attrition of the war and loss of morale. What's left are young, inexperienced rebels who fall easy prey to the Invid, or veterans who have lost, or are losing, their will to fight. Only a major victory against the Invid, and the re-emergence of a strong underground movement, can revitalize the despairing human resistance fighters around the world. The reported death of Lancer and the other famous heroes of Rook's Knights has dealt the resistance movement a mortal blow. It will take the appearance of a new group of heroes to restore a glimmer of hope to humanity. The only thing that could surpass this would be the reappearance of one or more of the legendary heroes such as Lancer, Rook, Rand, Scott Bernard, Rick Hunter, or Max Sterling. But what are the odds of that happening? What happened to Rook's Knights, the greatest earthbound freedom fighters of them all? How were they tricked? Did Lunk, Sarah, Annie, Rook or Rand survive the Battle of South Dakota? It is said that Lancer died that day. Some rumors attest that the others were destroyed. Some tales claim that they were captured and mutated in a Genesis pit. Others say that they died as slaves in work camps, while perhaps worst of all, still other rumors report that Lancer himself cringes in hiding, having forever forsaken the mantle of hero and protector of the people. Could any of this be true?
This adventure deals with post-Invid invasion Earth, approximately 10 years after the Third Robotech War. This means that most characters are young, not likely to be RAF soldiers, freedom fighters and other resistance fighter types. Most are likely to be one of the following: an OCC, the Nomad Scout, the Mercenary, Freedom Fighter, the non-military personnel, the RAF Intelligence Agent, or the EBSIS military personnel. However, they can be any of the OCC and/or aliens found in Robotech 2, the Sentinels, and the Invid invasion. The most exciting possibility may be the Rockers themselves. If the character is an already existing RDF, Southern Cross, RAF, or freedom fighter from a previous campaign, using existing characters is fine. Whatever scenario option that will be the most fun and exciting for everybody is what is important. The adventures which follow center upon a group of characters who call themselves the Rockers. The Rockers' characters can be portrayed in several different ways. Which portrayal is best will depend on the disposition of the characters, and whether or not this adventure becomes part of an existing campaign, or an isolated tale in the continuing Robotech saga. They can be characters who comprise the rock and roll band known as the Rockers, or they can play heroes who work with and defend the Rockers. What follows are a few different histories to select from. In each case, the characters will be given and trained in the use of Instrumecha by Professor Walters, which are new protoculture devices.
These are characters with at least one skill in a musical instrument at a professional level. These characters are all professional musicians having done their rocker gig for 3 or 4 years now. They met Professor Walters when they were brought into the Detroit Underground and were encouraged to hone their musical skills in the tradition of Lin Meanmei and Yellow Dancer, or Lancer. Professor Walters rigged old electric guitars and synthesizers with salvaged REF mecha and protoculture to create instrumecha to help them in their morale-raising activities. The professor has also been gently, but firmly, guiding them along the road to becoming more and more in touch with the tried and true morals and obligations of the RDF, REF, and Southern Cross. They are effectively a subgroup within the New Detroit Underground and often act independently of the D-Rockers REF freedom fighters. These are all civilian teenagers or young adults who have joined the New Detroit freedom fighting movement. An OCC is limited to the Nomad Scout, freedom fighter, mercenary, and non-military personnel. As part of the organized resistance movement, they have access to a variety of RDF, Southern Cross, and REF mecha and equipment. However, their lack of true military training and persistence in acting without orders has made them a sort of rebellious, hotshot, splinter group within the underground. The commanders of the underground wish the group to simply act as an intelligence gathering team. The cover of a traveling rock and roll band gives the team easy access to communities everywhere, arousing little or no suspicion. However, the young patriots prefer to strike out at the Invid whenever the opportunity allows it, which is far more often than command appreciates. Rumor has it that some underground leaders would disband the group except that they are too well known and popular. Thus, the Rockers continue to be both a blessing and a thorn in the side of the underground.
All rockers must have at least one skill to play instruments and of average ability, if not at professional level. Rockers should try to have a diversity of musical skill as a group so that they can utilize all the instrumecha available to them. A variety of Professor Walter's Instrumecha, CVR-3 and/or Southern Cross body armor, 1 energy or mini missile weapon, rifle or pistol, and ID-4 energy clips or missile scored, ID-4 cobalt limpet mines, and conventional weapons and vehicles are available to a character starting off. Mecha will be provided only to those who know how to operate them and will probably be Cyclones, if any. All RDF, Southern Cross returning characters are veterans of the First and/or Second Robotech Wars and of the Invid invasion. The old and possibly forgotten soldiers were drawn further away from the rigors and responsibilities of army life and became travelers, lending their skills to townspeople and survivors every now and then. This continued for years, until they met Professor Walters, a fellow ex-Southern Cross military scientist. Walters has turned them into a covert team of specialists who travel the land as a rock and roll group gathering intelligence and then sabotaging the Invid whenever possible. Their greatest weapons are subterfuge and the awesome creations of Professor Walters, the Instrumecha.
Characters from previous campaigns are seasoned veterans in their mid-30s to late 40s. They will all be higher in levels of experience starting off. Also starting off, no REF or Sentinels mecha is likely to be used. However, characters may have REF weapons, CVR-3 body armor, and military vehicles salvaged from crashed REF space cruisers or provided by the New Detroit Underground. Existing characters of those characters fresh from the Sentinels are all veterans of the REF and/or the Sentinels campaign against the Invid. These may also be previously portrayed characters in the Invid invasion setting of occupied Earth. The Invid are back, and this time humankind may not have the resources to repel them. This group of fighters has done what they can against the enemy, but years of battle has taken its toll, and it seems that even their best efforts are nothing more than a nuisance to the aliens. Then, the group heard of the New Detroit freedom fighters and rumors of a scientific genius on par with Dr. Lang, a man named Walters. He has discovered that the Invid are susceptible to various sound patterns and may have created a new type of sonic weapon to defeat them. The characters have limited resources and equipment left to them. Ammunition is down to the last energy clip, missiles for mecha and vehicles are down to at least half. Food and other supplies are nearly exhausted, and the mecha and vehicles bear the evidence of battle with numerous dents, gashes, and filth. The New Detroit Underground offer a comparatively safe place to rest, eat, and bathe in exchange for help around New Detroit. Sadly, the freedom fighters of New Detroit have limited resources and supplies themselves. Every week they lose another few fighters who have given up hope. However, they will supply anybody who joins the Detroit Rockers Underground with newly energized Eclipse, mini-missiles, and CVR-3 body armor.
Characters who undertake a major mission get their mecha restored and repaired. They are also supplied with standard Gallant H90 with extra energy clips and rifle extension. Wolverine assault rifles, EP-40 pulse beam guns, and EP-37 beam cannons for Cyclone. Available mecha provided by the Underground is limited to ID-6 VR-052 Battler Cyclones equipped with GR-97 missile launchers, or EP-40 and mini missiles, ID-4 VR-038 LT Cyclones, with an EP-40 or RL-6 rocket cannon, and 1 or 2 VR-041 Saber Cyclones with the CADS 1 weapon system, an old RDF Gladiator, and an REF Excalibur with damaged legs with maximum speed reduced to 90 miles per hour. No alphas, betas, or anything else is available. To become a musical member of the rocker band, the characters must have developed some musical talent, whether it is playing an instrument, or singing, or dance. However, anybody with a desire to fight the Invid and help their fellow man can become one of the Detroit Underground's notorious rocker freedom fighters. If the characters are not all or mostly members of the musical band, then they will join the rockers as roadies, the men and women who help set up the stage and equipment, and who protect the actual musicians, including the REF agent or EBSIS personnel characters, in a campaign can lead to interesting complications. Playing the EBSIS personnel OCC as an enemy agent or villainous character among the group can add a new dimension to the adventure. Will the enemy agent betray the group? Will he come to care for them and join the team, betraying the EBSIS? Or is the character complete scum? The possibilities can be fun and interesting.
The REF intelligence agent is primarily a surveillance and recordation field operative devoted to seeking out and recording information for the REF. As such, he will usually try to avoid combat and instead hang back, recording and observing the events as they unfold for analysis later. They are the ultimate reporters, dedicated to collecting huge amounts of data on any subject required of them by their commanders. As an intelligence agent, they are supposed to be as self-sufficient as possible, skilled in hand-to-hand combat, and trained to rely only on themselves. Consequently, REF intelligence operatives are usually loners and tend to work with small commander-like groups. REF agents can usually be found in the employ of military and large corporate organizations. The REF agent, when part of the expeditionary fleet, also has access to full recording, editing, sound, and film studio facilities. Unfortunately, the devastated Earth of the Invid invasion has few such facilities, which means the agent must use simple portable tools and his own skill when in the field. Even though the Eastern Bloc Soviet Independent State, or EBSIS, is so much dust on the Asiatic continent right now, the EBSIS still thrives in South America, and small splinter groups roam the western portion of the old United States of America. This soldier OCC is automatically considered to be a member of one of these EBSIS splinter organizations. In the case of Lancers Rockers, EBSIS military personnel are likely to be members of the Krugach organization. A soldier winds up in the new Detroit Underground, most likely because he is a spy sent to gather intelligence on the rumored strength of this last of the big resistance forces in North America. The remnants of the old Soviet army are extremely rugged, able to survive in the most hostile environments for great lengths of time. Most speak several languages fluently, and all are experts at guerrilla warfare. Only the elite now have any true skill and knowledge in the operation of the giant EBSIS Batloids. The new trend in EBSIS mecha is toward more vehicular-style machines.
Characters with this skill have the ability to play a particular musical instrument and to read music. Each specific type of instrument counts as an additional skill. This means that a character who can play a guitar must select the musical instrument a second time to play a violin, and a third time to play the drums. However, skill in a guitar includes all types: acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and so on. Some specific categories of musical instruments include guitar, banjo, violin, fiddle, piano and organ, electronic keyboards and synthesizers, drums and cymbals, flute, harmonica, horns, saxophone, and trombone. The playing will be competent and pleasant to listen to, but 2 skills in the same instrument must be taken for the playing to be of professional quality. Cyclone Repair gives the character the ability to test, diagnose, and repair all models of Cyclone, provided that he or she has the time, proper tools, and patience to carry out the task. This skill is formidable, but is not the equivalent of a biomaintenance engineer. This skill is limited to the REF Agent OCC, however, it can also be added to the available skills of the Nomad Scout and Cyclone Rider. Furthermore, extremely serious damage may be impossible to repair, and a biomaintenance engineer must be sought.